This quick video shows you information that comes into DrivenCRM from QuickBooks. Bringing information in will be under your Company Preferences menu, Accounting Setup. You check off the options that you would like to bring into Driven from QuickBooks. This is always a manual process, and you select it as often as you need to. Check the boxes that you need and save up at the top. One of the pieces of information that comes in is employee information. This comes from QuickBooks Sales Rep List. In QuickBooks, you will notice here in the list there is an option to see the Sales Rep List. These are the only kind of employees that synchronize into Driven from QuickBooks. Dan is the only one in the list here, so he is the only employee that has come into Driven automatically. If we would like to add another person from QuickBooks, we can add a new sales rep and find the employee that we'd like to put in. So if we put in Elizabeth and save her here, we can then synchronize her into Driven. Her information will come in, and we can configure her roles and settings in Driven as far as what she's allowed to do. So we'll do another synchronization process to bring her information in, and you can see where she shows up as an employee. As far as when you synchronize, that can be set to be done as often as you like. Typically, whenever you add or modify information in QuickBooks, that information will need to be synchronized into Driven then, as we're doing here. So the QuickBooks connector starts up, synchronizes the information it needs to, and updates Driven for you. Now, Elizabeth is an employee in the employee list in Driven. Other types of information that comes in will be our sales tax rates. That's the next thing. Those are seen here, and you can see how much the rates are, but they always need to be modified primarily in QuickBooks. QuickBooks is always the driver of the sales tax rates. So they'll first be configured here under the item list in QuickBooks. You'll set the tax rate and or change the tax rate, and then synchronize that into Driven. Tax rates in Driven work just like they do in QuickBooks. In other words, an item will be marked as taxable or not, and then the specific tax rate is applied to the customer. That's what we're looking at here, is the vendor list and the customer list. So vendors synchronize in from QuickBooks, and so do customers also, along with all of their customer settings, their current tax rate settings and things like that will all be automatically synchronized into Driven using that process. So it brings over your item list from QuickBooks, including all of the types of items that are in your item list in the QuickBooks company file. Those include inventory items, non-inventory items, services, groups, and assemblies. So any of those types of items that are defined from your QuickBooks file will come into Driven and be configured like they have been in QuickBooks.